Let me see. Let me cook. Still fine. Let's go. Save way to the y la bonita.
Hello everyone, Chaos here, and welcome to another Oldschool Runescape video. Boys and girls, we all have our favorite skills, and if you find someone who hates on it, it is time to take out the pitchforks. We all know that runecrafting is objectively the best skill in the game, but what about the rest? In this video, we will go over how useful skills are not only for mains, but for the very first time on my channel, I will include the information for Ironmen and Iron Women enjoyers. A huge thank you to my friend Steinsgate, who's a fellow maxed player, and also has a near maxed Ironman account with a staggering amount of boss KC. Without him, the Ironman section for this video wouldn't have made it, and I'm really happy to include it. So if you dislike anything on that category, feel free to flame him in the comments below. And speaking of flame, we have a few disclaimers as it is tradition for these uploads. The very first one is that, as with most opinion videos, this might not be the definitive tier list of how useful skills are, but will give you a great idea as to what you should focus on for your account. The second one is that, as I previously mentioned, this is aimed for unrestricted mains and Ironman accounts. So, if you're a Lumbridge locked to 200 mil XP per chunk Tileman account who can only get 1 experience per day, this may not be the best guide for you. And finally, although not really a disclaimer, you can let us know what you think about the tier list you're about to watch in a civilized manner in the comments below. Guys, Raids 3 will release this Wednesday, and I will be live the moment it launches. So subscribe with notifications on, join the Discord, and let's get into the final video before the Tombs of a Mascot. So, let's begin. I'm going to start by very quickly explaining how the tier list will be laid out. There are 4 categories, and at the very bottom we have skills which are mostly useless and for which you might get away with only getting a few requirements for quests and achievement diaries, and honestly not touching it for a very long time. The second one is similar, but said skill will be more useful, and gaining a few extra levels might pay off in the long run. The third one are skills which are super useful for any type of account in terms of convenience, utility, and even some money making. And finally, the fourth category contains skills which are absolutely mandatory if you're gonna enjoy the end game, and if you want to make a good amount of cash for gear upgrades or even to upkeep your membership with the GP. The unrestricted main category starts off with fire making, which makes it the worst one by far. To my knowledge, this is useful for Winter Toad if hunting for the Phoenix pet, Shades of Morton for collection log and money making with prayer, Pyre ships for barbarian training, Eternal fires after making friends with my arm, and for the Abyssal Lantern in Guardians of the Rift. The skill cape has a nice effect which acts as a light source, but other than this, fire making is, in my opinion, the most useless skill in the game. Next up we have woodcutting, and not to spoil too much, but being a gathering skill for which you can basically buy logs at the Grand Exchange for fire making or fletching to name a few, you can get away with training this skill only for a few requirements, and that's pretty much it. As another quick side note, remember that some requirements for Achievement Diary Cape or even some Master Clue Scrolls will have you level up skills up to 90 or above, but if not going for those, woodcutting is not really mandatory. Fishing is next, and like the previous one, unrestricted mains can just buy their food at Grand Exchange, and fishing will be nothing but an AFK simulator at places like Barbarian Fishing, and will be pretty chill and 99 to get. Although, not too useful later down the road. Mining is one of the most hated skills in the game, and for a good reason. Since smithing is pretty outdated, it goes hand in hand with smithing. You need level 85 to mine runite ore yourself for items that you can wear at 40 combat stats. And since you can get ore and bars from other sources, this is only needed for requirements. Fletching follows a similar pattern. Traditionally, you would make your own ranged weapons and ammunition, but with the power of GP, you can just get them at stores or at the Grand Exchange. Definitely one of the most AFK skills you can do for an easy cape, but for utility, you're not missing out on a lot. The final skill in this category is smithing. The Giant's Foundry made it a little bit more relevant since it offers a few great untradeable rewards, but you can get them at a decent speed even without a high level. It's a nice moneymaker once you have 85 or even level 70, but even then, profit is not overwhelming. Starting off the next tier, we have crafting. This would be in the previous tier of skills, but honestly the crafting skill cape is so good that it carries it over to the next one. For mains, this is not a mandatory skill to train, but it offers some chill money-making methods on your way to one of the most useful skill capes in the game. Next we have cooking, and although you can't just buy your food at Grand Exchange, cooking is one of the easiest skills to level up, and it will even give you some profit at higher levels. Other than that, the skill as a whole is not super useful, but decent enough to put it right here. Thieving comes next, and if you think of all of the things you can do with this skill, it all comes down to money from pickpocketing various NPCs in the game, or even some random items obtained from other sources. This is placed above cooking because it can be a lot more engaging, and it's slightly more fun. Then we have Hunter for 2 reasons. The first one is that despite only a few methods being viable from 1 to 99, this skill offers so much variety that diversity alone makes it very attractive. The main reason why it's here is because with a birdhouse run you will be able to level up passively, and it won't take much of your time. We jump to runecrafting, and I'll admit this is here because of my bias, and if you don't like it you can just cope with it and leave. Jokes aside though, you can get away with leaving it at 55 for the questscape, but with the addition
Hello everyone, and welcome to my updated melee training guide. Over the last couple of years, there's actually been some significant updates to how you train melee in old school. There are faster ways, there are modern ways, and today we're going to be detailing a lot of the new methods. Training your melee combat stats up is probably one of the most important things any new account wants to do, because it allows you to take on stronger and stronger monsters, make money, complete quests, and generally progress your account. Now, when it comes to melee training, your experience per hour is almost always based on how much damage you deal. Regardless of the monster you're attacking, beyond a few exceptions, each point of damage you deal will get you 4 experience in the combat style that you're using, and you'll get 1.3 experience in usually the most important style to level for melee training. Attack determines the accuracy of your hit, which makes it incredibly important, but also it's required for equipping higher level weapons, which makes it a necessity to get better gear. Leveling defense increases the chance that an enemy attack will miss, which is not as important in this order. Are the most waterfall. It's a gear up will probably runes of the weapon, the attack bonus for combat. Now for your equipment, any food hours, money, but essentially they just boost your combat stats by a significant amount. Now for the vast majority of combat training, you're going to be killing things that have low defenses anyway, so all you need to really increase your XP per hour is a super strength potion. These are about 5k each and will last you 10 to 20 minutes per potion, so it's really not that expensive per hour. So at the very minimum, I would recommend bringing some super strength potions with you, use them every 5 minutes when you're killing sand crabs. Okay, so once you get to level 55 attack and strength, you can actually switch over to a new combat training weapon, the Glacial Tomato. This weapon is actually significantly better than a Rune Scimitar, has no requirements to wear beyond the attack level requirement, and is incredibly good for a upcoming training method. This is a two-handed weapon, so you don't even need anything in your offhand slot, and we're going to be using this actually for quite a while potentially. Other upgrades you can consider getting at this point is a Helm of Need.
Amulet of Torture. Hello everyone, Chaos here, and welcome to another Old School Runescape video. The other day, I was watching a RuneScape 3 YouTuber by the name Protox, as he did a deep dive on what the best combat style is in the game. That was a perfect opportunity to to take inspiration from him, and asked if I could mimic his video for osrs, to which he said yes. So, today we will analyze all 3 combat styles and give you a more detailed answer that a lot of people probably don't think about when answering this question. If you guys enjoyed these uploads, make sure to subscribe with notifications on, drop a like, and of course join our Discord server with a link in the description below, so you can interact with me and our amazing community that's nearing 2,000 people. So, come join. What I want to talk about today is not only which combat style is best, but analyze other aspects of combat to take more things into account. I will talk about the training methods and how diverse it is to train, how powerful each combat style is at the different stages of your account, special attack weapons, how much money you need for budget or best in slot gear to bring the style to its full potential, and finally how useful they are at bosses to see where you should prioritize your training time and of course your money. So boys and girls, grab your sword, bow and staff, and let's talk about the different combat styles in Old School Runescape. In the background you will see me and the boys at the TOB, as I am working towards a 25k C for the Elite Combat Achievements. If you make fun of me in the comments, a swift ban will come your way, you absolute rats. Alright, let's start from the beginning. How diverse are training methods? I'll always talk about melee, ranged, and magic in that order, and it doesn't necessarily mean that one is better than the other, but we will decide after said category. For the sake of this video, I'm going to include defense in the melee category just because it's a little more convenient to train in this one. But remember that defense plays a big role in all three combat styles, of course when it comes to tanking hits, and also levels required for armor in all three combat styles. I would honestly say melee is pretty rough because you have 3 skills to train. If you're starting from scratch and you don't do any questing right away, the first few levels are going to be incredibly slow. I personally train attack first to be slightly more accurate, strength second to hit harder, and then defense last since it doesn't really affect DPS but so I can wear better armor. Any experienced player knows that it is almost mandatory to do quests such as Waterfall Quest, the Grand Tree, Holy Grail, and so many more that give a few thousand experience, but in terms of levels, it's actually huge. I would also say it is the least diverse to train because realistically speaking, you can only get experience when fighting things, but more about that in a second. If you're not training Slayer, or god forbid you're at the Nightmare Zone outside of point boosting, just grab your best weapon and armor and start whacking things until they die. Up until high level bossing, your weapons are not going to make that big of a difference. From early to mid game, your standard scimitar will do just fine. And other attack bonuses are not going to be crucial in combat, so this is pretty bland early on. Some of you might say that ranged is literally the same, only with bows instead. However, with completion of the Dwarf Cannon quest, you can get yourself a nice, well, Dwarf Cannon, and you will get passive ranged experience wherever you take it. Nowadays, it's not really that expensive to run, and it will always be useful to speed up Slayer and of course for those extra ranged levels. Until you're able to use it, you will be stuck with short bows which are a bit faster than melee weapons, and slightly more accurate as well. And since there's only one skill to train it, things are going to go a lot quicker. If you want to speed up your training, the third option available is speedrunning the skill with Chinchompas in the Monkey Madness 2 caves. The nice thing about this method is that you can set the chins in defensive mode, which will grant you passive defense experience as well. As I've covered in previous videos, at not such high levels, even you're not paying attention, you can get a minimum of 400 to 500k XP per hour, jumping to almost 1 million nearing 99 with the correct setup. So, if you're looking for a quick combat 99, this is totally it. When it comes to weapon variety, we have a lot more than melee, each with its particular use. You can stick to short bows for early game, crossbows for monsters with higher defense, a blowpipe for quick DPS, the Bofa, the twisted bow, and much more. These are also going to give you a ton of options to fight whatever monster you are doing. Now, it's not like melee where you have 3 weapon styles, but the type of weapon which will be efficient against your targets, and it will definitely make a bigger difference whenever you are training ranged. Lastly, we have magic, and this is the clear winner when it comes to training variety. If you remember my quick magic guide from almost 4 years ago, which now that I think about it, 2023 will definitely see revamped skilling guides from me, this is by far one of the most diverse skills to train in the entire game. Oddly enough though, not really for combat. You see, all of the spells available in the 4 books have so much utility that you don't really need to train Slayer with magic spells up until you get the Trident, or at least that's what I suggest. In my very personal opinion, training magic through combat spells is such a waste of money because more often than not you will be spending more money than you make. So why not make money through magic as you're getting experience in either an AFK or a fun way? Spells like Alking, Spin Flax, String Jewelry, Plank Make, Degrime, and so many more that will get you to higher levels for you to be ready to train more conveniently with the Trident-like weapons. Now, that's not to say that you can't train magic through combat, because just like Chinchompas, if you go to the Monkey Madness 2 caves with the Ancient Spellbook, you will grab a disgusting amount of experience. So much so that it's going to fly by and you won't even need the spells as I did from 80 to 99, which were String Jewelry and Plank Make. If you train on the defensive style, you can also get the best defense training method in the game, which will be a huge bonus if you're nearing max mage level and you don't already have 99 defense. I would say weapon variety is higher than melee, but slightly lower than ranged. I mean, sure, there are tons of combat spells, but not all of them are always viable. And with not as many weapons or type of weapons as before, magic comes to a close second. So, to recap everything I just said, for training variety and diversity as well as the amount of options offered, magic comes in first, ranged comes in second, and finally we have melee. Now, keep in mind I'm not including special attack weapons here as it will be its own category, but I'm sure you will most likely know why I'm saying this. So now, on to the next one. Alright, so how powerful is each combat style at different stages of your account? This is honestly not that deep, and with my experience through one main account, a mid-level hardcore Ironman that's still chilling in Lumbridge fishing food for later adventures,
Alright, let's go. About to level up. One more hit. Alright, about to level up. Let's go. 55 range, guys. There you have it. Let's go.
but in terms of power, I honestly feel like they are fairly balanced if you don't take the Tumikin Shadow into account. Ranged comes in at number 1 because with weapons like the Bofa or a Tibo paired with Masori, your DPS will increase dramatically and it's going to make you an unstoppable machine. So our final table looks like this. First place worth 3 points, second place worth 2, and finally third place with 1 point. The clear winner is Ranged because it stayed balanced during the early and the mid game, and it excels during the late game. Melee and Magic being almost tied, but if I had to pick a better one, Melee would take second place because of how common it is to use at so many bosses, and even at places where multiple styles are needed. If you disagree with this, please let me know why in the comments below. Up next we have a pretty short category because you will quickly be able to tell what the clear winner is. But I thought, hey, why not include it here? Special attack weapons are key when it comes to bossing and the PVMing. And if you are going to the special attack page on the wiki, the amount of melee weapons with special attacks is honestly quite staggering. We have crucial special attacks such as the Dragon Warhammer, Bandu's Godsword, Ceradon Godsword, Dragon Claws, DDS, Ancient Mace, Bone Dagger, and the list goes on. We also can't forget about some of the newest additions to the game in the form of the Osmund's Fang and the Yellow and the Red Karis, both of which are absolutely busted inside the Tombs of Amaskun, so not to spoil too much, this is our clear winner. The not so close second is Ranged. Typical special attack weapons include the Blowpipe, Zerate Crossbow, Dragon Thrown weapons, and even more niche ones like the Dark Bow and the Dragon Crossbow. I would say only the first two are more commonly used, but this style offers a good variety of fun special attacks to use. That means that Magic is our clear loser in this round. For weapons you would typically use, we have the Volatile and the Eldritch Staves.
A big thank you to the channel supporters.
That is awesome. Oh, you do? Cool.
Ah, oh my god. We need the top now.
page. And that is another one. And apparently I can now